We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Scherer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
The board's duty is not to the unit owners. The board's duty is to the property.
In other words, their fiduciary duty lies with making sure that the property is well maintained.
And not damaged. And to your point, I think the perfect example, given that this is January, are frozen pipes. And we deal with this, I'm going to say, on a daily basis, Henry?
Pretty close.
Yeah. We're getting calls on 2 scores, either snowbirds who have gone away and have not winterized their units properly, and thereby the pipes are freezing. Now, that's within their unit. They haven't winterized it, but it will, if the pipes freeze, affect other units and the common element. And an even more difficult problem right now are units that have been foreclosed upon. There is no one taking charge of the unit. It's been foreclosed upon by a lender. There's no third-party owner. The lender, no dig at you, Rick, but with all these mortgages, half the time we don't even know who foreclosed or who actually the entity is to contact, and they've just completely ignored the status of the unit. And again, not winterized, pipes are freezing.
Right.
And this leads to this dual problem of in the unit, but maintenance of the common element. And that's where we have to come in and give advice based on what we think the documents and the law provides.
So what happens here if a snowbird goes to Florida and doesn't winterize properly, and there's a pipe bursts in the unit, goes down to the second floor and all the way down to the bottom? Whose responsibility is it to go in there into the unit and stop it? And then who pays for the repair on all the other units?
Well, in the first instance, when you have a burst pipe, the very first thing that happens is the board goes in and shuts off the water and takes action. You don't wait at that point to try to determine who owns what and who's responsible for what.
I guess I've kind of danced around being involved in the rehabilitation, redevelopment sector of real estate for quite a long time. From college of getting involved with architecture to starting a business, doing marketing within real estate, to taking that into the retail realtor business of doing their advertising and marketing as well. But I, like everybody else, back in 2003, 2004, there were 10 different flip this house television shows, you name it, and you watch the television show and you can see it can be done in a half an hour. It's not that easy. There's a lot to be taken into account, and what is the process of from sitting on the couch watching that television show to actually being involved?
These flipping shows, I'm a big fan of them. I mean, we get home, Gina and I get home, and we always are watching HGTV. And I think there's a service and a disservice, right? Sure. The service part of it is, I think it's entertaining. I think it piques the interest of anyone out there that may be interested in wanting to sort of set sail on that type of thing.
Right.
But the disservice is that it makes it almost look too simple.
Correct.
So it's not educational per se, it's entertaining. And I think that's where you guys come in. Tell us a little bit about this whole joint venture thing. I mean, how could a listener benefit from that?
Well, basically, you're going to get a full understanding of what is involved in a rehabilitation or development of a particular project. I mean, we do new construction as well. You're going to get a full understanding of all of the steps in that process. You're also going to be teamed up with contractors that we have sought out and vetted throughout that process as well, that are going to really be able to assist you in getting an understanding of, what size furnace do I need for this house?
Right.
Those are things you don't ever think of, even when you're a homeowner. I know I have heat, but I don't know what it is I need, or am I better off with a forced air system, or do I stick with baseboards, or do I need to replace this kitchen? And if I do, where do I get the cabinets? And where am I going to get the best deal with the highest quality? It's seeking out all of that and communicating with people that have been doing it for a long period of time.
And I think people try to go out there and save money by keeping their energy costs low. Well, it's a lot more expensive and a lot more inconvenient when you do have a pipe burst.
Oh, it's terrible when somebody returns from a vacation and finds that the water's been running inside their home, or heat pipes have frozen because there wasn't antifreeze, inside the wet heat.
Yeah.
And it's been pouring, from the second floor through the home, and the wood floors are 2 feet high.
Right.
Because it's buckled.
You guys
it's
have probably
terrible.
seen everything.
Do you think that it's worthwhile for someone to be spending money and going sort of green and being more energy efficient?
Yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, the technology we have nowadays not only is it going to save people money in their energy bill, but also is going to provide much more comfort than they've had before. The technology now is so much smarter than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the quickest way to put it is we used to design for the coldest day of the year all the time. So say I need 100,000 BTUs to heat the house at 0 degrees. Well, a boiler, for instance, would make 100,000 BTUs all winter long, just in case it could be that cold, which is about 30 hours a season out of 7,200.
Wow.
We had enough heat. So now we have technology that will take the outdoor temperature compared to the indoor temperature and only produce the amount of energy we need based on demand.